If you are feeling easily drained, depleted, frustrated, emotionally either apathetic or like you're on a roller coaster, first of all, I want to ask you for a moment to just sit. Take some deep breaths with me. With your mind and heart, just really will yourself to be still and relax. Scan your body and your thoughts and your emotions. Take note of what the common thing you feel emotionally is, and just take a mental note on that. Take note of what the common thought processes and inner dialogue are like in your head. Take a personal note on that. And then also take note of how you feel physically. What is something common? What's something that's really hanging out in your body right now that you want to shift? Your body is often going to show you signs of where your head and your heart are at right now. So just listen. And without judgment, without shame, without a need to force, just be in these spaces, in the head, in the heart, and in the body, understanding where you are right now. Understanding what you've been carrying long enough is super important to what we're going to be discussing today. Take one final deep breath and open your eyes. Doing regular check-ins with yourself is important spiritual, mental, emotional, energetic hygiene. This is how you can detect energetic and spiritual parasites as well as clear them. But parasites will not just feed on you unless there's a food source. Parasites will not hide if there's not a source of shelter, okay? Parasites will not thrive in an environment that is given them the foundation to reproduce, okay? So that's why it's important to do regular check-ins with yourself and be honest with yourself about how you feel, what you're thinking, what your body needs, how to nourish, how to cleanse, all that stuff. You got to turn your phone off for a whole ass week? Do it. You don't want to answer the 20, 30 messages that people have been sending you because, they don't want to work on their own problems, but they want to siphon your energy? Yeah, how about no? Because you're no good to anybody anyway if you ain't working on yourself. Okay, I had to get that baby to focus. So we're going to break down what a parasite is and what it needs, okay, to thrive. Even though I know I just kind of explained that, but I want to really talk about it more, okay? And then we're going to dive deeper into this whole topic. Okay, first of all, I want to say that a lot of times people confuse parasites and parasitic energy for demons. I have been there. I am no longer there because I recognize that demons are actually helpers. They can actually help you in uncovering these parasitic beings, creations, people even, and help you stand up to them and get rid of them, okay? So oftentimes parasites are confused as demonic entities, and then people just run away. And they usually run to religious practices, people that will just tell them what to do. And that still doesn't help them, okay? Because they're not being challenged to go within. They're being challenged to seek outside of themselves when really a major part of this issue is internal. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope so. So a parasite quite literally is a creature or organism that relies on you as a source of food. Now, this could be, blood, like a lot of actual parasitic creatures like, lice and ticks and bed bugs, things like that. They rely on your life force as their food source. But we can apply that to energy parasites, spiritual parasites. They go hand in hand because everybody is a spirit and everybody is an energetic organism. So, the three things that parasites rely on are food, shelter, and a foundational space to reproduce, to continue reproducing the issue. Okay? So if you find yourself just, you could be hanging out with this person, it could be a spouse, it could be a friend, a family member, and you were fine all day, and then you're hanging out with them and you are just tired, like you can't keep your eyes open, you feel brain fog, you feel confusion, frustration, like you are just drained, they're probably a parasite. They probably have parasitic / vampiric type energy. They are siphoning your energy because they can't produce it on their own right now. They're not doing the work to produce it themselves. And parasitic connections, parasites thrive off a sense of dependency because usually the people that are affected by parasitic energy are kind of feeding into that parasitic energy because there's a level of dependency there that is not helping them there. It's almost like they're unconsciously dependent on the feeling like shit to cater to a narrative that has created an energetic blueprint that attracts parasites. Does that make sense? I know that was a lot, so if you have questions, please just comment below. When I channel information, like I write notes down, but then as I'm reviewing them, other things start really like coming through that I want to share and that my guides want me to share. So please, like, if something didn't make sense, like comment below. I always re-review my videos too, because I feel like it's important to re-review what I've said because I do personally believe that everything I teach is something I also need to see. So a lot of times I will re-review and I'll have things ready in my own mind that in case anyone has questions, I could be like, okay, yeah, I reviewed that. This is what I was talking about. So I always thoroughly go over my own content to make sure that I can answer any and all of your questions if there is something that I was saying or channeling that didn't quite make sense. So rest assured, I got you. Okay, so they need food, your energy, your time, your thoughts, emotions, attention. That's all food for them. Your consent, your permission for them to just kind of invade is their food. Okay? So you need to be more discerning and more mindful, slow down, and be honest with who and what you give your energy, time, thoughts, attention to. Start paying attention, start almost taking like personal inventory, like literally writing things down of like, when I'm around this person, typically I feel this within the next 24 hours or over the next week. Or if you want to go in depth, you can create a whole log of how 30 days around these people has affected you versus if you took a couple weeks to yourself, like see the difference. Or if you start pulling away from certain people to hang out with people that you've been avoiding, that could be good for you. Take inventory. What's the difference in your whole vibration, your personality, your thought processes, the way you view things when you hang around people that are more encouraging rather than people that are discouraging or draining? Okay? But this can also apply to a ton of other things, not just people you are directly in contact with. This also goes with the stuff you watch and you listen to. Okay? So like if you are constantly scrolling through readings, like collective readings all the time, and you're not sitting with anything that's being said to you, you're just looking for, confirmation bias, and you're trying to fit all these readings together to fit what you want to hear, and you're feeding an addiction, that can become parasitic. Those videos will then consistently start showing up in your algorithm, and that can become almost parasitic because it's an addiction rather than coaching you to greatness. It's not encouraging you, it's distracting you. It becomes parasitic, it drains you. Because you're not taking the time to really sit with what you're hearing and apply it into actions. Okay? So think of the food you are giving things, people, situations, and how that is affecting you. Think of what food in general really does, right? It gives us fuel, right? What are you fueling, and is it fueling you back? And if not, it's parasitic and you need to clear it. Okay? Shelter. Why are you protecting this connection? When you get overly defensive about it, you're protecting something that you think it gives you, but it's actually keeping you stuck, drained, unsupported, and misaligned. All right? So if you're protecting it, what are you actually protecting? What is this false sense of security you are protecting by having this parasitic energy around you? Because that protection that you think you're giving it becomes a prison where you can't experience anything new and fresh and invigorating and inspiring and healthy. Okay? Last but not least, are you experiencing symptoms from this? Okay. Like for instance, when we go to the doom scrolling or the, addiction to readings and all of this stuff, are you experiencing lots of like anxiety? Are you experiencing a lot of indecision? Are you constantly doubting your intuition? Are you feeling brain fog and tired and fatigued? Overstimulated? Frustrated? Angry even? Or, it could even go deeper, like from the people you surround yourself with, the kinds of stuff you surround yourself with that you keep feeding into. This can manifest itself as like sleep disturbances, actual illnesses, breakouts, lack of appetite or overly eating, like emotionally eating, feeling sick a lot in the stomach, it can manifest as abundance blocks, where once you were thriving, now you feel like you're broke all the time, and that's the reproduction aspect, is like, what is this reproducing? You're giving it the foundation. What is it reproducing? Are you giving your energy, time, and attention to people, places, and situations that reproduce beneficial environments, circumstances, all that stuff, all that good stuff? Or are you constantly feeding into a pattern with people, places, circumstances, and situations that reproduces your trauma, poor belief systems, fears, and then it feeds off of that? Okay? Does that make sense? Like I said, parasites will thrive where there is a sense of dependency on the pain or discomfort in some way. Okay? Typically, energy/spiritual parasites specifically will pull you away from your true path. This is typically based on thoughts, beliefs, and habits that make you afraid of yourself, which is why it's so important that you do self-check-ins all the time. Okay? Check in with yourself frequently. Okay? so that you don't think it's demons all the time trying to possess you or whatever. Okay? It's a lot of times it's ourselves. It's our lack of going within. We have such a dependency on things outside of us, and this isn't just religion. Sometimes we go crazy, even with our cards, where it's like we don't like the answer, so we're just like, oh, let me just reshuffle. Like, no, you have to go within. You have to go within. Okay? So this parasitic energy keeps you from your true path. It keeps you from your truth, and that is the link to why you might be dependent on this lower feeling, is because you're afraid of what it's going to be like to be elevated. You are afraid of the truth that elevates you and what that might mean you have to lose or who in order to be elevated. But that fear and that discomfort of elevation is way better than the discomfort of spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically sickening yourself. Okay? So close your eyes for a second. Feet on the floor. Really pressed firmly. Sit up. Align your spine. Check that posture. Okay? Allow deep breaths in and out. And speak this affirmation. I rescind any and all invitations to people, places, situations, circumstances, and even content that seeks to drain my energy instead of sustain it, replenish it, and feed it healthily. I rescind all invitations I have made consciously or unconsciously to any and all energetic and spiritual parasites. Check in with how this feels in your head, heart, and body. Wherever you feel tense, unsure, unstable, bring your breath there. And say, I only invite life-giving energy to this space. All energy drains are sealing because I am choosing to heal. I am choosing to face my thoughts, my beliefs, my personal limitations that keep me stuck in connections with things that drain me. I am no longer perpetuating this narrative that I am broke, that I am drained, that I'm too tired, that I'm constantly used and taken advantage of. I am no longer living in this narrative that keeps me resentful, lacking, hateful, ashamed, depleted, and feeling unsupported. I am a sacred space, and I treat myself as such. No one and nothing can enter my sacred space without my consent. And my consent is intentional, personal, and discerning. Take some deep breaths into the count of 4. Hold your breath for 4 counts. And breathe out for 4 counts. Breathe into the count of 4. Hold. And breathe out to the count of 4. Breathe in to the count of 4. Hold. And breathe out to the count of 4. One more round. Breathe in to the count of 4. Hold. And breathe out to the count of 4. And slowly open your eyes. Your words are powerful. Okay? You can obviously rewrite and re-say all of these statements in the way that feels in alignment with how you would say it and what you really want to say, but reclaim your sense of authority. Reclaim your sense of power. You are not a powerless being, and any thoughts and beliefs and feelings and limitations and even people that support those limitations, they're not powerful. Like they're not more powerful than you living in your truth. Okay? Because they are living in such a limited scope of things, and you want to break free. That's why you feel the way you do. That's why you're right here probably, is because you don't want to stay in that bubble. You don't want to stay in that prison. Okay? You just haven't found the right people to support you and show you there's life outside of that bubble. And I'm happy to be that person to start you on that journey of showing you there's life outside your bubble. Take your energy back. Call your energy back. Call your power back. Starting today. Okay? I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings on this video. If you have anything going on with this type of situation with energy parasites, please let me know. I'll help you as best as I can. If you want one-on-one soul-to-soul support with this, you can always book a consultation with me. I'll put the link in the description below. If you just want to connect, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I will also put the links below for those platforms. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.